3:22 a.m. Fordow Fuel Enrichment Plant, Qom Province, Iran. 88 meters underground. The centrifuge halls at Fordow do not look like a weapons program. They look like an industrial facility. Rows of IR-6 centrifuges in climate-controlled vaults, spinning at 50,000 rotations per minute, processing UF6 gas through cascades that progressively increase the concentration of U-235. The facility was built inside a mountain for a reason. Its designers calculated that no conventional munition could reach it. The mountain above it is 88 meters of solid granite and limestone. Beneath that, 5 meters of reinforced concrete. Beneath that, the centrifuge halls. The designers were confident in the math. They had not accounted for a weapon designed specifically to solve that math. 41 hours earlier, the announcement had come not through diplomatic backchannels, but through Iran's state broadcasting network. The IRGC Aerospace Force had confirmed enrichment levels at Fordow, reaching 60% U-235 purity. One technical step below weapons grade, one policy decision away from 90%. The International Atomic Energy Agency inspectors, who had been denied access to Fordow for 11 weeks, were formally notified by letter. The letter was faxed. The choice of medium was deliberate. A fax takes time. 41 hours was enough time. Enough time for 4 B-2 Spirit bombers to be loaded, briefed, and positioned. The decision had not been made in 41 hours. The targeting package for Fordow had existed for 7 years. It had been updated 14 times. The GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator integration on the B-2 had been certified for exactly this target class. Deeply buried, hardened, geologically reinforced, in a test program that ran 4 years and cost $330 million. The weapon existed because Fordow existed. The moment the enrichment announcement reached the White House Situation Room at 6:14 a.m. the previous morning, the question was not whether the targeting package would be used. The question was timing. Timing was answered at 11:47 p.m. 4 B-2s at Whiteman Air Force Base received their execute orders. They were wheels up by 0:14 a.m. Each B-2 carries 2 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, 30,000 pounds per weapon. A hardened steel penetrator body, GPS guided, designed to survive impact with reinforced concrete at supersonic terminal velocity and continue through 60 meters of rock before detonating. The B-2 carries 2. Fordow requires both. A sequenced delivery. First weapon opening the penetration channel. Second weapon following the same path to the detonation depth. The designers of Fordow had calculated for 1 impact. The weapon system was designed for 2. 8 MOPs. 4 B-2s. 2 targets at Fordow. The primary centrifuge hall and the backup cascade hall, 340 meters apart within the same mountain. 2 more targets outside Fordow. The Natanz fuel enrichment plant and the Isfahan uranium conversion facility, which processed raw uranium yellowcake into the UF6 feed material the centrifuges required. Isfahan was the supply chain. Natanz was the redundant capacity. Fordow was the announcement. All 3 had to be addressed in the same window, because a strike on one without the others would simply shift the program's center of gravity. Operation Silent Meridian, authorized at 11:47 p.m. In the air by 0:14 a.m. At 3:19 a.m., 3 minutes before the first B-2 reached its release point over the central Persian Gulf. The IRGC Air Defense Network registered anomalous contacts at the edge of its long-range radar coverage. Faint, inconsistent returns that could have been atmospheric interference, or could have been very large, very smooth aircraft designed to scatter radar energy rather than reflect it. The Bavar 373 battery commander at the Isfahan site transmitted a query to the Khatam al-Anbiya Air Defense Headquarters in Tehran. The query was logged. No response was issued in time to matter. From the SBIRS satellite, there were no launch plumes to track. The B-2 is not a missile. It does not announce itself with heat. It announces itself with the absence of sound, the absence of radar return, and the sudden presence of impact. The first indication that something was happening came not from any Iranian sensor, but from the IRGC communications intercept that U.S. Cybercom had been monitoring since 0:47 a.m. Fragmented traffic suggesting the Bavar 373 network had registered something it could not classify. At 3:22 a.m., the lead B-2 reached its computed release point over the Persian Gulf, 47 kilometers from the Iranian coastline. Weapons bay doors opened. The hydraulic sequencer cycled. The first GBU-57 released at 3:22:41 a.m. Time of flight to Fordow, 11 minutes and 22 seconds. While the first MOP was in the air, the defensive picture in Iran was accelerating from uncertain to alarmed. The Bavar 373 battery at Isfahan had acquired the B-2 on its S-band track radar. Not a confident acquisition, a marginal one, the kind that generates a targeting solution with a large error circle rather than a precise intercept geometry. The battery commander had a solution. He had 38 seconds before the window closed. He authorized a launch. 2. Sayyad-3 missiles left the launchers at 3:23:17 a.m. Both were tracking the marginal radar return. The B-2's radar cross-section is approximately 0.0001 square meters, the size of a large insect. The Sayyad-3's active radar seeker, designed for targets with conventional radar returns, was attempting to maintain lock on a signal that was barely distinguishable from background noise. The first Sayyad-3 lost lock at 3:24:02 a.m. and impacted the Zagros foothills 11 kilometers north of Isfahan. The second maintained marginal lock for 94 seconds before its proximity fuse triggered on a terrain return. It detonated 340 meters below and 1.2 kilometers east of the B-2's actual position. The B-2 was undamaged. Its crew noted the detonation on their threat warning display. They continued on heading. This was Iran's best moment. A Bavar 373 acquisition of a B-2 Spirit at combat range. A missile launch that nearly resolved into a valid intercept. The margin was 1.2 kilometers. That margin was the difference between the test program that refined the B-2's signature reduction and the operational environment. The engineers had bought 1.2 kilometers. It was enough. At 3:23 a.m., 1 minute after the first MOP released, the 4 EA-18G Growlers that had launched from USS Dwight D. Eisenhower at 2:47 a.m. reached their jamming orbits over the Strait of Hormuz. Their mission was not to protect the B-2s. Stealth aircraft operating at altitude do not require jamming support. Their mission was to suppress the IRGC's ability to coordinate a retaliatory response during the strike window. The Growlers began attacking 17 IRGC command relay frequencies simultaneously. USC Ibercom, which had maintained access to 3 nodes of the IRGC command network since 1:14 a.m., injected fragmentation code into the primary communications routing layer at 3:23:41 a.m. Message traffic between Fordow, Natanz, Isfahan, and Tehran degraded by 73% within 90 seconds. The IRGC command network was not gone. It was confused. Confused was sufficient. At 3:34 and 3 seconds a.m., the first GBU-57 impacted the granite above Fordow's primary centrifuge hall at Mach 1.7. The penetrator body, hardened steel, 20 inches in diameter, 20.5 feet long, entered the rock face at the computed penetration angle. It passed through the granite overburden in 0.31 seconds, through the reinforced concrete in 0.04 seconds. It reached its designed detonation depth at 3:34 and 3.35 seconds a.m. and triggered its delayed fuse. The seismic network at the CTBTO monitoring station in Tabriz registered a 2.9 magnitude event at 3:34:04 a.m. The event location, Qom Province, consistent with the Fordow site coordinates. The depth, 70 meters below surface. The wave signature, impulsive, characteristic of a contained subsurface detonation, rather than a natural seismic event. The second GBU-57, released 8 seconds after the first from the same aircraft, following the penetration channel opened by the first weapon, arrived at 3:34:11 a.m. It entered the same impact crater, followed the same channel through granite and concrete, reached a deeper detonation depth. Second seismic event, 3.4 magnitude at 3:34 and 12 seconds ATM. The Tabriz monitoring station's seismologist on duty had never seen 2 events of this signature separated by 8 seconds at the same coordinates. She flagged both as anomalous and continued recording. Inside the centrifuge hall at Fordow, the second detonation produced a pressure wave that the mountain had not been designed to contain. The cascade infrastructure, IR6 centrifuges, UF6 feed systems, electrical distribution networks, ventilation architecture ceased to function as designed. Not because the warheads reached the centrifuges directly, because 88 meters of rock transmitted the energy of a 30,000-pound weapon, detonating at depth with nowhere to release it except inward. The centrifuge hall did not collapse. It was pressurized from below. The distinction mattered to the engineers. It did not matter to the centrifuges. The second B-2 reached its release point at 3:24 a.m. Its target, Fordow's backup cascade hall, 340 meters northeast of the primary hall within the same mountain complex. First MOP released at 3:24:29 a.m. Second MOP at 3:24:37 a.m. Impact, 3:35:51 a.m. and 3:35:59 a.m. Seismic events, 2.7 and 3.1 magnitude at Tabriz. The third B-2 had been assigned, Natanz. The Natanz fuel enrichment plant is not 88 meters underground. Its primary centrifuge halls are 8 meters below surface, deep enough for protection against conventional munitions, not deep enough for the GBU-57. But Natanz had been hardened in 2019 with an additional concrete and soil overburden layer, taking the effective depth to 18 meters. The GBU-57 at Natanz was specified to penetrate to 18 meters and detonate horizontally rather than vertically. A modified fuse setting that distributed the detonation energy laterally through the centrifuge halls rather than into the earth below them. The third B-2 released its first MOP at 3:25:14 a.m. Impact at 3:33 and 9 seconds a.m. Seismic event, 2.2 magnitude. The second MOP on the third B-2 had been assigned to Natanz's electrical and cooling infrastructure, the surface-level systems that the underground halls required to operate. No penetration required. A direct surface impact with a 30,000-pound weapon against the transformer yard and cooling tower complex. The crater at the Natanz surface facility measured 31 meters wide. The transformer yard was rendered inoperable. The cooling systems that kept the centrifuge halls at operational temperature were offline. Even if the underground halls had survived the first MOP, and the assessment was that they had not, the surface infrastructure required to operate them was gone. The fourth B-2 had Isfahan. The uranium conversion facility at Isfahan is entirely surface level. It converts uranium oxide into UF6 gas, the feed material that Fordow and Natanz require. Without Isfahan, the centrifuge program has no input stream. A surface facility requires no penetrator. The fourth B-2 carried 2 GBU-57s, configured as surface burst weapons, maximum blast radius rather than penetration depth. The first released at 3:26 and 7 seconds a.m. The Isfahan conversion building, a reinforced industrial structure 180 meters long, received the first impact at 3:32:44 a.m. The second followed 8 seconds later. The conversion building ceased to exist as a functional structure. Secondary events from chemical reactions within the UF6 processing equipment were recorded by the CTBTO station as a series of low-level acoustic events over the following 4 minutes. At 3:29 a.m., while the MOPs were still in flight, Operation Silent Meridian second phase activated. 41 or BA/A. 18F and F-35 sea sorties from USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, already airborne since 2:58 a.m., reached their assigned target corridors over western Iran. Their packages, JDAM precision munitions against the IRGC air defense batteries that had been identified as capable of engaging the B-2s on egress, specifically the S-300PMU-2 battery near Kerman, and the Khordad-15 battery in Fars province that had been tracking the B-2 formation on its acquisition radar since 3:21 a.m. Both batteries received paired JDAM packages at 3:31 a.m. The S-300 radar at Kerman went offline at 3:31:17 a.m. The Khordad-15 fire control system at Fars received a direct impact at 3:31:22 a.m. Simultaneously, 89 Tomahawk Block 5 cruise missiles launched from USS Leyte Gulf and 2 Arleigh Burke destroyers beginning at 3:04 a.m. began reaching their targets across western and central Iran at 3:31 a.m. Target set: IRGC Aerospace Force Command Infrastructure, Shahab-3 launch preparation facilities at the Imam Ali Missile Base, the Isfahan Missile Production Complex, and the IRGC Signals Relay Network connecting the nuclear program sites to the National Command Authority. Not the nuclear sites themselves. Those had been assigned to the B-2s. The Tomahawks were assigned the infrastructure that would allow Iran to reconstitute, redirect, or retaliate. By 3:37 a.m., the United States had authorized $2.1 billion in precision munitions, 8 GBU-57 MOPs at $3.5 million each, $28 million, 89 Tomahawks at $2.09 million, $186 million. The JDAM strike packages, the JASSMER, assigned to the Shahab launch facilities, the EA-18G sortie costs, the invoice extended beyond the nuclear program itself, into the retaliatory architecture Iran would need to respond. The IRGC retaliatory response began at 3:38 a.m., 16 minutes after the first MOP released. The IRGC had maintained a reserve ballistic missile force specifically for this contingency. 34 Fateh 313 and Imad missiles pre-targeted at U.S. regional facilities in hardened garages along the Zagros foothills on launch timers rather than command authorization, specifically designed to survive the communications disruption that would accompany a U.S. strike. When the timer reached zero, they launched regardless of whether the command network was functional. It was not functional. They launched anyway. 34 missiles toward Al-Udeid Air Base, the U.S. 5th Fleet headquarters at Manama, and the Al Dhafra Air Base in Abu Dhabi. Pre-targeted. Pre-authorized. The only human decision required had been made 11 months ago when the timers were set. The PAC-3 batteries at Al-Udeid, Manama, and Al Dhafra had been at maximum readiness since 0:14 a.m., the moment the B-2s launched. Thade was fully operational. The SM-3 batteries aboard USS Leyte Gulf and the 2 Arleigh Burke escorts had been holding their VLS capacity in reserve specifically for this. The expected retaliatory salvo of 34 Fateh 313 and Imad rounds, 29 intercepted by P.A.C. 3MSE in terminal phase, 3 intercepted by THAAD in high-altitude intercept, 1 intercepted by SM-6 from USS Leyte Gulf after a PAC-3 miss. The warhead had maneuvered during terminal phase, placing it outside the first interceptor's engagement solution. The SM-6 resolved it at 23 kilometers altitude. 1 EMAD round, its guidance system malfunctioning from the electronic disruption affecting the IRGC network, impacted a desert area 14 kilometers south of Al-Udeid. No personnel, no infrastructure. 34 rounds launched, 33 intercepted, 1 malfunction impact in open desert. The desperation gambit came at 3:51 a.m. The IRGC naval commander at Bandar Abbas, having received fragments of communications indicating that the Fordow and Natanz strikes had occurred, activated the coastal ASBM battery. 8 Khalij Fars anti-ship ballistic missiles pre-targeted at USS Dwight D. Eisenhower's last known position. The Khalij Fars is a modified Fateh 110 with a maneuvering seeker designed to track large surface vessels in terminal phase. 8 rounds, pre-targeted, pre-authorized, USS Dwight D. Eisenhower had repositioned 47 kilometers from its last known position during the strike window, standard doctrine during offensive operations. The Khalij Fars seekers had been programmed with a position that was 47 kilometers stale. 3 seekers acquired the carrier's updated thermal signature during terminal phase and corrected. 5 did not. The 3 that corrected were engaged by SM-6 in dual anti-air and anti-ballistic missile mode at 34 to 41 kilometers altitude. All 3 intercepted. The 5 with stale targeting impacted the Arabian Sea in a pattern 47 kilometers southwest of the carrier's actual position. USS Dwight D. Eisenhower was never at risk. The 8 Khalij Fars rounds had been fired at a coordinate that no longer contained a ship. At 3:58 a.m., the Growler jamming and U.S. Cybercom fragmentation code had degraded the IRGC command network to below 18% of nominal routing capacity. Individual units were attempting to reach a headquarters that could not answer. The retaliatory sequence that Iran had planned, ballistic missiles, coastal ASBMs, followed by a Shahed drone swarm that would exploit the interceptor depletion from the first 2 waves, never reached its 3rd phase. The drone launch authorization could not be transmitted through a network operating at 18% capacity to launcher crews who had not received confirmation that the first 2 phases had executed as planned. At 4:07 a.m., the last Iranian ballistic missile impacted the Arabian Sea. After 4:07 a.m., isolated, fragmented signals from IRGC units that had received no orders and no confirmation. The retaliatory architecture had not failed mechanically. It had failed because the network connecting its components had been severed before the components could coordinate. The B-2s completed their egress over the Gulf of Oman without further engagement. The Bavar 373 battery that had fired on the lead B-2 at 3:23 a.m. had been assigned to a Tomahawk package at 3:31 a.m. It received its weapon at 3:44 a.m. and was assessed as non-operational from that point forward. At 4:19 a.m., the last U.S. Tomahawk reached its designated endpoint, the IRGC signals relay station at Hashgerd, northwest of Tehran, the final node in the communications chain connecting the National Command Authority to the Zagros missile bases. The station went offline. The chain was complete. In the CAOC at Al Udeid, the silent MERIDIAN assessment officer opened the post-strike database at 4:31 a.m. Fordow primary centrifuge hall. Confirmed non-operational seismic signature consistent with structural compromise at depth. Fordow backup cascade hall. Confirmed non-operational. Natanz primary centrifuge hall. Assessed non-operational pending imagery confirmation. Natanz surface infrastructure. Confirmed non-operational. Isfahan conversion facility. Confirmed non-operational. The nuclear supply chain, from conversion at Isfahan through enrichment at Natanz and Fordow, was assessed as below operational threshold across all 3 sites simultaneously. The IAEA had been notified by the U.S. State Department at 3:27 a.m., 5 minutes after the first MOP released, that access to Fordow and Natanz would now be possible. The notification had been drafted 11 months earlier. It was sent on schedule. She noted the single EMAD malfunction impact in open desert. She noted the 3 sailors aboard USS Leyte Gulf who had sustained minor injuries when a Khalij Fars fragment from one of the 3 intercepted ASBM rounds had reached the ship's hull below the waterline as structural debris following the SM-6 intercept. No breach. Minor hull scoring. The ship remained fully operational. She saved the database at 4:31 a.m. The enrichment program that had announced itself 41 hours ago had been reduced to seismic records and satellite imagery. The centrifuges that had been spinning at 50,000 rotations per minute at 3:22 a.m. were not spinning at 4:31 a.m. The mountain above them was intact. The halls inside were not. From the execute order at 11:47 p.m. to the last U.S. weapon impact at 4:19 a.m. 4 hours, 32 minutes. From the first MOP release to the last Tomahawk impact, 57 minutes. B-2 sorties, 4. GBU-57 MOPs delivered, 8. Nuclear facility targets, 4. Fordow primary, Fordow backup, Natanz, Isfahan. All 4 assessed non-operational or comprehensively degraded. IRGC retaliatory ballistic missiles launched, 34. Intercepted, 33. Malfunctions impact in open desert, 1. Khalij Fars ASBM launched, 8. Intercepted, 3. 5 impacted open ocean at stale coordinates. No U.S. ships damaged. Tomahawk packages, 89 rounds, 71 aim points across IRGC command, missile production, and communications infrastructure. Assessed neutralized, 64 of 71. 7 requiring reassessment. U.S. personnel injuries, 3 sailors with minor injuries from hull scoring. 0 fatalities. 1 B-2 Spirit, undamaged, returned to Whiteman Air Force Base. All 4 B-2s recovered. Cost of U.S. munitions in Operation Silent Meridian, $2.1 billion. Estimated replacement cost of Iranian nuclear enrichment infrastructure at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, including program restart timeline, $14.7 billion and a minimum of 12 to 16 years to reconstitute to pre-strike capacity, assuming unimpeded procurement, which the Operations Companion diplomatic package was designed to prevent. The IRGC had announced 60% enrichment because they believed the announcement was the deterrent. That the scale of the program, the depth of the facilities, the hardened geology of Fordow, and the cost of engagement would make a military response politically and operationally prohibitive. The deterrent calculation had one gap. It assumed the targeting package did not already exist. It had existed for 7 years. It had been updated 14 times. The weapon designed to solve the geology of Fordow had been in inventory for 4 years. The execute order had been drafted in 3 contingency versions for 26 months. The announcement had not created a crisis. It had provided a timestamp, 41 hours between announcement and first impact. That was the decision timeline the White House had used. The operational timeline, from execute order to last weapon impact, was 4 hours and 32 minutes. The enrichment program that had taken Iran 19 years to develop at an estimated cost of $8.4 billion had been reduced to a reassessment requirement and a 12 to 16-year restoration timeline in 57 minutes of active operations. The centrifuges were not spinning. The mountain was silent. The accounting was precise.